Good evening and praise the name of the Lord. It's that time when we bring to you the Gorgeous Woman Show live on CTN TV. We are so excited to have you watching this show for a while. It's been a good and award-winning show, and I'm always happy to be the host of Gorgeous Women that are ready to inspire, empower, and encourage somebody that is going through a difficult situation. And as always, we are always committed to bring to you the best. And just to help you and talk to someone there's a book that I've published. It's called Break Free, Family Deliverance Guide. So this has the back side of it is the foundations of the earth are full of wickedness. It is time to wage war against all the devices of the enemy in our personal and family life. So you will find some prayer items that will help you pray through generational curses, through what you imagine is not working, evil patterns and cycles. So this is a must read for anybody that wants to grow and be the best they can be. I go back to my guest in the house, who is none other but Grace Lusesi. She's a gorgeous woman that has a beautiful story. Karibu sana in Gorgeous Woman.
Asante.
Yeah, so tell us more about your journey of salvation, growing up. Who is Grace?
Okay, my name is Grace Lusesi, and I live in Gashie near Ruaka here in Nairobi. I grew up in Kitale, Trans Nzoia County.
Okay.
Where I went to school, and that's my rural home.
Okay.
Being a daughter of a pastor.
Okay. A pastor's kid.
Yeah, in a family of 8, 4 brothers and 3 sisters.
So what born are you? To what
number 4.
Number 4?
Yes.
So the girls or boys are older, or they are all mixed up?
We are mixed up. We are girl, boy, girl, like that. So I'm number 4.
Do you have a favorite in your home? Who's your best friend among your siblings? Ama huyo usiseme.
They might be listening.
They might be listening.
Yeah, but we grew up loving each other, all of us, because I think we grew in the love of God and we knew about loving each other. So I don't think there was favoritism. We just loved each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. So how is your relationship with Jesus? Or how has been your journey, your walk with God?
Being a daughter of a pastor, I grew up in church, but now knowing God and experiencing God was in 2020. That's what I can say personally. I knew God on a different level. That was in year 2020. But I've been in church all through.
So you were in full gospel raised in a pastor's house, but never had a personal encounter or relationship with Jesus?
I just went to church, just going to church. Yeah, and growing up, knowing God, knowing the word, but had not experienced Jesus on a personal level. That's what I can say.
Okay.
Yes.
What of your school life? Where did you go to school?
I went to school. I schooled in Kirita Primary. That is just next to our home village. And then went to a secondary school nearby, which was called Statunga. Statunga Secondary School.
Yeah.
It was a mixed school, boarding and day, for my high school. Yes.
And did you go to college?
I went to college in the year 2014.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Here in Nairobi, Nairobi University. Yes.
So what did you study?
I pursued public relations to my diploma level. Yes.
Nice.
Thank you.
So are you a mother? Are you married?
Yes, I'm married, and I'm a mother of 3 beautiful daughters.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, great. So how old are they?
My firstborn daughter is 17 years old, and now my second-born is 5, and my last is almost 1 year, 10 months.
1 year, 10 months.
Yes.
Oh, that's so good. It's good to be a mother.
Thank you.
Are you married?
Yes, I'm married. I'm married to a loving husband. I can say we have been married for 8 years.
8 years.
Yes.
Glory to God. My viewer, that's the story of my guest, Grace. And we want to hear what the Lord has done for her through her journey. Already you can tell pastor's kid and got her encounter at the age of 20. I mean, year 2020. So there's a story, fill in the gap. See you after the break. So welcome back. My guest is Grace Lusese. Her story is a story that is quite interesting because she got pregnant when she was in high school. By now you can tell she's a PK, a pastor's kid, and the stigma that goes with it. So Grace,
Yes.
just allow yourself to share your story with us because it's a good story.
Thank you.
So tell us, after high school, what happened?
I got pregnant when I was in high school in my 4th year in secondary school. And being a pastor's daughter, I didn't know much about anything. And then I was in a boarding school. So from schools, home. But when I was in high school, I entered in peer pressure. I found that all my friends, those who were surrounding me, were involved with boyfriends. So I was the only odd one out.
So
and so
you also joined
I
along.
chose to try. But it was unfortunate, I could say, for me, because on that very first trial, I got pregnant. It was my first experience, and I got pregnant too. So it was shocking to me, and I didn't even know how to handle it. So I didn't tell anyone.
Did it happen when you were in school?
Yes,
or
I
it
was in school
happened
because
outside?
my boyfriend was also in school.
It
We
was
were
a
in-
mixed.
Yeah, it was a mixed boarding school.
Okay.
So it was something we organized in school. We
So father and
sneaked
mother
out.
were in the same school.
Yes. And it happened
Yeah.
just like that. So everything was too fast for me.
I know.
And I didn't tell anyone. I hid my pregnancy in school. And the teachers trusted me so much. They knew I was a good girl.
Yes.
So I knew no one would believe me. So I didn't share with anyone. I was sponsored. So I was afraid of losing my sponsorship.
You
too.
were sponsored to go to high school?
Yes.
Okay.
I was sponsored by a female sponsorship program from my form 2 to my form 4, and it was supposed to sponsor me to campus if I performed well. So I was afraid, so I didn't share it with anyone. I kept it to myself, but I started dropping. My examination, I was dropping, and the teachers got somehow worried, but on asking me, I told them I had some little stress here and there, but I never shared about my pregnancy. And it was...
So this is which term?
That is, I got pregnant in July.
Form 4?
Yes.
So you are almost sitting for your exam this time?
Yes. When I did my mocks, I failed terribly. I failed. I got a D+, something that had never happened. I used to get B+, A's. Now I dropped to D+, because I couldn't even concentrate. But my pregnancy was too small. No one could notice, so I didn't share it with anyone.
Even the so-called boyfriend, you didn't let him know?
I kept it to myself until when we closed school in August. Then I let him know, and I asked him what I was going to do, and he told me not to tell anyone.
I know.
He told me not to tell anyone because they could expel him, and out of that stupidity of childhood, I didn't tell anyone.
He was also in Form 4?
Yes, we were in the same class, in the same form. So I went home. I didn't tell my parents. We came back for 3rd term. I'm pregnant. My parents are not aware. I'm in school and we are tested, but on testing, everyone trusted me so much because when they reached on testing me, I told my matron that I was feeling like I wanted to visit the toilet, and she let me go, and I just sneaked like that, and they didn't test me, and I went to the dormitory, so they didn't realize I was pregnant in school.
So this time You're about how many weeks pregnant?
I'm 2 months.
You're 2 months.
Yes.
So it can't show.
Yeah, it is still too small. So I was in school. I learned the whole of the 3rd term, stressing, but my friends realized, 2 girls who had pushed me into having a boyfriend, they realized I wasn't okay. So I had to share with them. And they told me there was only one possibility of me terminating the pregnancy, of which out of confusion I wanted to go for it. So we even took our pocket money and we wanted to try it. We even looked for a medic. But on that day, when I wanted to go and terminate it, I felt something. I felt like I was going to die. So I just changed my mind. I said I would not do that. And I decided to keep it. So when I did my KCSE examination, I was around, that was in November, I was around 5 months.
And the teachers or the matron didn't notice?
I hid it. I used to put on my skirt and my big sweater. They didn't notice. They just
and
saw
then
that.
You looked very, very innocent.
Yes, I was very innocent, and
Wow.
I tried my best not to show them. I hid it. I put on big sweaters and just pretended all was well, even though my class teacher noticed that I was very pale and I was very light. But I said there was nothing wrong. I was just okay.
And why did your friends keep the secret? Or
Yes, they kept, though they were very angry with me after I refused to terminate the pregnancy, but then later they chose to support because I couldn't eat skooma. It felt bad, and we ate skooma the whole week except 2 days, and I'm in a boarding school. So they could go and bring for me bread from the canteen. I lived on bread.
wow, somebody who is expecting.
Yes, I ate bread in the morning, lunch, and at night. So I couldn't go for bread myself. I had to send someone so that they don't notice. I could take my bread at 10, and then at lunchtime, my friends would go buy for me. I'll eat it because I couldn't eat skooma or githeri, and that is the food provided in schools.
And there was no prenatal clinic?
Nothing.
No,
I never went for any.
Wow.
I was just there. I didn't even know they were.
Wow.
I didn't know they existed.
Wow.
Yes.
That was tough.
Yes.
So what was your greatest fear at this time?
My greatest fear was losing my sponsorship, because knowing where I had come from, losing my sponsorship and my parents' love, just that. Knowing where I had come from, my dad was a pastor. I didn't know how people could take it. And then the sponsorship, I knew this was to run me to campus.
Yeah, so you knew your
So I knew
education was safe.
losing it meant I was never going to school again. It was the end of me.
Because your family was not financially
Yeah,
stable.
we were very poor, let me say it. We were very poor, and almost all of us were sponsored.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yeah.
There was somebody who was willing.
Yeah. So that was my greatest fear. Was if I lose this scholarship, what am I going to be? I didn't even mind the child. I even wished the pregnancy just came out on its own. I slept asking God to just take it out of me, but it never happened. I woke up with it and slept with it, but I made sure no one else knew. And so I did my examinations, and on finishing, I had to face it now because it was big enough my parents could notice. So on that day when I did my exam, we packed. In boarding schools we have the boxes. Then a story comes up. Before I reach home, people have already talked it out. They said that a pastor's daughter has given birth in school, and has put the baby in the box. And my parents don't know I'm pregnant. But the story is already everywhere. So on reaching home, they're waiting for me. They want the baby.
So who gave the stories?
I don't know where the story came from, but reaching in the village, now in my village, because my school was not very far, I don't know who started the story. I think one of the ladies in the village had noticed I was pregnant, but I don't know what happened because I was in a boarding school. So on reaching home, my parents are furious. They want the baby. Why? How comes? What happened? So I had to explain to my parents. But it wasn't easy because even at that time I was still not ready to tell them the truth. I'm pregnant, but my dad is asking me if I'm pregnant. I'm telling them I'm not pregnant. And I'm 6 months pregnant. I have never visited an antenatal care. I'm just there. So my mom told me, you have to tell us so that we find a way to help you. That's when I chose to tell the truth.
Were you given a spanking or were you?
They didn't take it lightly, of course.
What happened? Tell us the drama that unfolded once they
Because
knew.
my parents were very furious. At that time, especially my dad loved me so much.
Yeah.
They have named me after her mother. So she told me, no, you can't, this is not serious. How? You have never left this place alone. You are in a boarding school. What happened? That is not true. So my dad was very saddened. I saw the sadness on my dad's face and I couldn't take it. So I chose to run away from home again. So there I am, confused. I'm pregnant. I ran away from home. I didn't know where to go. I went to my grandmother's home in Western without telling my parents. So they are looking for me all over and they can't find me.
So did you feel like you are going to be, you felt threatened?
Yeah, I felt like no one was understanding me. I didn't even know who to tell that. It was just a trial. I didn't know. So everyone was accusing me. That's what you went to school to do. That's.
I know.
My brothers were angry at me, my sisters, everyone. So I didn't have anyone to support me. So I just chose to run away. So I ran away. I went to my grandmother's home. No phones at that time. I stayed there. And my grandmom, my grandmother helps, she helps people deliver. That's the mom.
So when you went to your grandmother's house,
she touches me.
Did she receive you?
Yes, she receives me. And that very night, she feels me. She feels my womb.
Your baby.
Yeah, and she tells me, oh, my granddaughter is pregnant. And she'll deliver a baby girl without going to clinic, without anything. She just touches me and tells me that. That's why I realized, so I'm going to give birth. I don't know what's happening to me.
Like it has
I
not
don't
yet.
want to hear anything. I'm wondering, I'm going to be a mother. How? I'm not
Just
even digesting.
Just one simple thing.
It's not even getting into me. How? So I ran away again.
Like nobody had ever told you how children come.
Yeah, and I don't want to listen to anyone. I don't want to sit with anyone. I don't want to listen to anyone. I just want to be alone.
So did you tell your grandmother you're pregnant or she knew?
No, she just knew. Mm-hmm. And when she touched me that night, she told me I was going to deliver a baby girl in the next... because I ran away from home immediately. So I stayed there for 3 days at my grandmother's home. And when she told me I was going to give birth, I couldn't take it. I ran away again and went back home to my parents. That is from Kakamega to Kitale again.
How far is it?
It's not very far. 500 shillings, that's fair.
So where were you getting money from?
my pocket money and the money I had been given to terminate the pregnancy, I just had it. That's the money I was using.
So you were actually running away to anybody who would tell you it's not
anyone
true.
who talked about pregnancy and anything to do with that, I was not ready to listen. I could just run away. I didn't want to hear anything. And the truth was that I was pregnant, but I don't want to hear anything antenatal or anything to do with pregnancy. I was not ready. Yes, I went back home and my parents knew that I was stressed. So they took me in. They just took me and they told me, it is well. It is well. We are going to be here for you. So by those words, that's when I felt better.
Wow, our viewer, that's a sad story of Grace, but it's not sad anymore because she can share it, because she overcame. See you after the break. Welcome back, our viewer. It's the Gorgeous Woman Show live on CTN TV Kenya. Grace. Yes. So now when you go back home, your parents tell you that they will support you.
Yes.
Did they look for you in these 3 days, or what do you think changed in these 3 days?
They looked for me everywhere. There were no phones. My dad had a small phone. My grandmother didn't have a phone. So there was no communication.
So they actually didn't know where you went?
Yeah, they didn't know where I went. They thought I died. That's what they thought, because they went to my boyfriend's home, which is still in Kitale by that time. So they didn't find me there. They looked for me everywhere, they thought, because they didn't think I could go to my grandmother's home alone. It was very far and very remote. So when they didn't find me, they chose to stay and just pray for me.
So were you not afraid that grandmother would be worried, or you didn't feel safe with grandmother?
I didn't know what was happening with me. I didn't even care about anyone.
Oh, yeah.
I was just caring about me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be in a place where no one was talking about pregnancy.
Okay. You just wanted to be accepted.
Yes.
Without the pregnancy.
Yeah. I didn't want anyone to tell me anything.
Yeah.
Just let me be. Wow. So when I went home and I found that my parents embraced me, that gave me hope. So my mom and dad told me it will be well. So mom told me you need to visit antenatals. And I told mom I will not go there, because I had been told in school by my other friends that when you visit there, they do bad things to you. So I was so afraid.
Those your friends, how did they know?
I don't know. They told me, you refuse to terminate this thing, they'll do bad things to you there. It will not be easy.
Had they done it themselves?
No one told me if any of them had done, but that's what they told me. So I was afraid. On hearing antenatal, I never visited antenatal until 9 months. I completely refused and even lied to my mom. My mother gave me money. She told me go to hospital. I lied to her. I went, sat somewhere, and then came back home and told her I was there. So mom thought all was well until when the day came. And I don't have a book. I have nothing. And I'm supposed to be taken to hospital to deliver. And on reaching hospital, they want the antenatal book, which I don't have. And it was not easy, it was just God. Because when I went to the district hospital, and I didn't have anything to show checkups, they said they couldn't help me. But it was kind of an emergency. The baby was already almost out, and there was nothing they could do. So the doctor said, bring that girl inside. Let's talk about the books later. So they just took me in and helped me. Then discussion of antenatal was a case of later. They helped me. I saw the hand of God, because, the first nurse had said we can't do that. We don't help those people who didn't go for antenatal. We don't know your health. We don't know how the baby is. How can we help? But I was helped, I thank God.
How was it?
Hey, it was tough. It wasn't easy. I remembered what my friends had told me, and I knew, I had to face it.
And you know you can't run away this time around.
Yes, and I didn't know. Now I told my mother, now I know it is not easy. But God helped me.
But your mother was there for you?
Yeah, my mother was there. My sisters were there. And I saw my family, and I felt so bad. I knew that they loved me, because I saw how much they were there for me and how they ran up and down in the hospital. And I knew deep inside that they loved me, even though I felt that they had stopped loving me. But I felt their love on that day. So I delivered my firstborn baby girl.
So grandma knew?
Yes. And whatever she told me happened. She even told me, I think she even told me the week I would deliver. She told me you'll deliver in February. I didn't know. I didn't know when I was going to deliver. I didn't know anything. She told me. So
she was a proper midwife?
Yes. She just touched me and said I was going to deliver a baby girl, and it was in February. And that's exactly what happened. I delivered a baby girl.
So did grandma come?
She came later when my daughter was 2 years. When my daughter was 2 years, that's when she came.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Thank you.
So what is the hardest, what was the, let me say, like the most mean comment you ever had in your journey of pregnancy?
The words people talk and say, that is a pastor's child. The pregnancy came through, I don't know what. How did she?
They would insult.
Those words would crush me. I wish I could just tell them it was just a trial. I just wanted to tell them, but I couldn't tell anyone.
So you being labeled promiscuous, like people imagining that you did it many times. You wanted to like say, I am not that guilty. I was only it's only happened because you're human.
Yes.
So did that affect your dad's ministry?
Yes, it did, because many women in church started saying that being a pastor was difficult. They started saying they were difficult on their girls, and yet he couldn't maintain his own children. Look, he can't even teach his own children proper manners. And I'm the only one. We are 4. So I didn't know why they were attacking my dad. I was the only one who had messed up, and we are 4 girls. So they told Dad if I continued going to that church, they would leave the church for him. And Dad was so confused, and I stopped going to church.
So the church rejected you?
Yes, they said if I wouldn't stop going to church, they would leave the church for my dad alone. So I had to stop.
That was tough.
Yeah, it was very tough. I stayed without going to church for 2 years.
And you couldn't go to any church either?
I felt a lot of pain, and I became bitter about churches. So my dad gave me a permission to go to another church, but I couldn't. I refused. I said, I better stay if this is the God in these churches. So I think that's where I lost connection with God.
I get you.
Because I was very bitter. I didn't know how people who go to church could treat me that way. Instead of understanding me and giving me another chance, they chose to throw me away. So I just stayed at home all that time. My parents were going to church, but they were telling me, pray for you. We had fellowships every evening in our home. They told me, we are praying for you that God helps you to find a place where you can go. In the meantime, before we make things right with the church.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just stayed. I was very angry. That is the truth.
Did you ever say sorry to your parents?
Yes. First, when I got pregnant, I didn't see the need of telling them sorry. I was arrogant. I just wanted them to understand without my apologies. But when I gave birth and became a parent on that bed, I felt the need of saying sorry.
Yeah, it happens.
That's when
It
I felt
happens.
like
every time you give birth.
that's when I felt
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah.
I had never told them sorry.
Mhm.
So when I told God, if you'll help me out of here, I'll apologize to my parents.
Yes.
That's where I'll start. So I went home on the third day, and the first thing I entered our house. With everyone there, I told them, before I sit down, Dad, I want to say I'm very sorry. I've wronged you and I brought you shame.
Wow.
But that will never happen again. I was very sorry. And I promised them, my whole family, I told them, so that you may know that it is not something I did intentionally. It is never going to happen again.
Wow.
Yeah. And my parents told me, forgave you long time ago.
Wow. But that at least gave you peace.
Yeah, I found a lot of peace
Yeah.
when I said that, when I apologized in front of my whole family.
Mhm.
I found a lot of peace.
Yes.
Then here comes the boyfriend now, the dad to my child.
Mhm.
They had I delivered, and there they came to see the child
Oh, good.
with the parents. Then they promised to take care of us, because I didn't even have an ID. I was not even 18.
You were not 18?
Yeah, I had just applied for an ID.
And your husband, your
He
boyfriend,
was
sorry.
not even 18 as well.
So it was two babies.
Yeah, so they told us, this can't work, because the parents from the other side wanted me to go.
Get married.
But my mom said, no, my child is too young. She doesn't even have an ID. I can't allow that. Maybe let her grow. If they love each other, they might come together one day, some other time, not now. But I really wanted to, I was hoping, because every woman, I came to realize every woman would wish to be with the father of their children.
Yes.
So that was, I really wanted to be with him for the sake of the love and the child at that time.
So you still loved him even through this?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. Because I waited for him for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
He went to college immediately. He performed well, and he went to college.
So it did not affect him? You were the one who was left
I was
to
the
deal with
one
the mess?
affected.
Oh.
He was not affected. He performed well, and he came and said, I'll come and take you after college. So he just take care of our child. I'll come. And during this time now, I meet another friend of ours whom we were with school, in the same school, the same form. And he tells me, did you know what happened? That was in, my daughter was around 1.5 years. I'm waiting for this guy. And he tells me, do you know your boyfriend is married and with a child? And that's when it ended. That's when I felt the pain I had never felt in my heart.
So there was another one?
Yes, I wondered why. He is the one who brought all this mess. I lost my sponsorship because of him. He promised to come. Then what's not happening?
Did you perform well in school?
I didn't. My final examinations, I didn't perform. I got a C-.
Which was not you?
No. Even my teachers cried, because they knew I was a performer. They knew. They had hopes in me. I used to get B's. In our family, no one had gotten such a grade. So I failed everyone. I felt odd. And even on performing that, I just told my parents, yeah, I failed you. I failed myself and I have failed you. So anything to do with the education, I'll never talk about it.
Wow. So you gave up?
Yeah, I just gave up. I told them I'll never talk about education again. And in the school where I was, the head teacher wanted me back. They wanted me to go and repeat. for free. They thought they pay everything because they knew that was not me.
Were they shocked when they
They
heard?
were very shocked. They didn't believe. They called me in school. They said, no, let her come. That is after I had delivered. They said, let her come.
But you couldn't face the same community.
I couldn't. I just wanted to lock myself inside. But so I had to go to school anyway for clearance. And that's when the head teacher told me, Grace, this is not you. Just come back. Just come back and do who you are. Because we know you can perform well. But no, I think I was just in that confusion. I just wanted to take care of my baby in the meantime.
Okay, so how was motherhood for you?
It was
Did
tough.
the baby bring healing, or did you love the baby?
I loved my baby so much. So much I didn't know how it happened. I loved her so much that, you see, I even denied. I refused to go back to school, even though they were ready to just offer everything for me. I just wanted to be with my baby first.
Oh.
I loved my daughter so much, though I even didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. My mom did everything for me. I didn't know how to change the baby. I didn't know how to hold the baby. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
So I was helped by my mom.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, that is quite a story. So as we come back, we're going to discuss about how did you get from there, because now you said you're married and you're a mother of 3.
Yeah.
Our viewers, that is the beautiful story of Grace Lusese. We pray that God will encourage you, even if you're going through that as a parent or as a young adult. Be strong. There is victory. Wow, Grace, that is quite a story. And off the camera, you were telling me that you were the CEO secretary at school.
Yes.
So that must have been even made it worse for you to now accept the things of God, because you felt you had failed spiritually, at home, failed academically, and in every good way.
In every area, I felt like a failure.
Yeah. Even in relationship.
Everywhere. I thought I felt like a failure, and at that time I just walked like a failure. So I had to hide my pregnancy. I didn't allow any other person to know, apart from the 2 girls and my boyfriend.
Yeah, fast forward. Now that your baby is 2 years, at what point did you get into another relationship?
I stayed for 5 years.
Okay.
Because I had a lot of bitterness with men. I didn't allow even a man just talking to me anything to do with love. I didn't listen. I could just walk away. I felt like I didn't even want to see any man coming close to me for 5 years, until when my baby turns 5. And this took the intervention of my parents, because my parents told me, now, Grace, your daughter is growing and she's well. Don't deny yourself another chance. Just because someone wronged you.
Wow.
That was my dad. I was very close to my dad.
Your dad?
Yes. My dad told me, my daughter, things happen, but there is always a second chance. So don't deny yourself a second chance.
That is so profound, coming from your dad.
Yes, that was my dad. I had vowed, I had decided that I was never going to give any man any chance in my life again. I had chosen to just take care of my child forever. I
think your dad understood that you were doing it for them, because I believe you felt you let them down.
Yeah, I really did. And I had decided to pay the cost, even if I do anything. So I thought maybe being in another relationship, the same thing will happen again. And it is something I had told them it was never going to happen. So I chose before it happens, I'll not be in any relationship. So I had gone back to church, another church, and I was doing very well in praise and worship, and men were seeing me, but no, it was a no. Even my pastor had to take me through counseling at that time, but I wasn't ready until when now 7 years. My daughter was 7 years. But it's not like men were not trying. They were trying, but I was the one who was not ready.
You felt all of them will let you down.
Yeah. So at 7 years, that's my daughter. That's when I started feeling I could love again. And I told God, if you bring someone in my life, bring someone who will take me the way I am. And someone who can love me with my child. That was now my prayer. Someone who will not only love me, but love my child. So I started praying. I didn't even pray for a lot of things. But I wasn't sure when I wanted, so it happened somewhere in there. When I met my husband, I felt something different from all the other men who are coming to me. And I was a very open woman. I'll tell someone, you look at me, you are not seeing a girl. I'm a mother. That was the first thing I used to tell men.
Yeah.
I am a mother of a girl. So you can choose to continue talking or making advances or quit this early.
Yeah.
So I used to be very open. So when he came, I told him the same. I told him, this woman you are chasing after is a mom. And he told me, and I'm the father of that child.
Hey!
As simple as
He
that.
stamped his authority that early. He was in church.
I am a father to that child.
He was a church person.
Not SDA.
SDA.
Yes.
So he was not a member of the church where you were leading praise and worship.
And right now I had already left home. I was here in Nairobi.
Ah, okay.
Yes. So we met at work. I was working somewhere and schooling by then. So when I told him and he told me, I had never heard that from any man. I had met some men who could just tell me they were just interested in me. And when you tell someone you have a child, it's like they're not ready. Yeah. In fact, one just told me directly that, no, I can't be a father to a child I didn't father.
Wow.
And that was painful.
Yeah.
But this one tells me, is the father to my child how? I told him, no, all men are the same. You just want to do the same thing. And he told me, no.
That was your first day? The first day?
Yes, yes.
Hey.
I tried to push him away. I told him no. But he kept following me for 2 months. And I found out that I was loving him.
Wow.
So I told God I was going to give this guy a chance. But I don't want any disappointments again. I told God I was not ready for the pain again. But to be sincere, I was afraid.
Yes.
It took me a while. Even when I got married, I was still afraid.
So did you get married in a formal way or you just...
No. No, we just, we went home. He took me to his home. Everything happened so fast. He took me to his parents and family. And before I noticed it, he's introducing, we are already meeting my brother here in Nairobi and my sister. And we started living. And I was still in college. And we went home to my parents. That is in 4 months. We had already seen my parents. And that's when I knew this guy is serious. So we started living. And we have been together all that time. We haven't officiated yet, but we're still together. That is important. 8 years. We celebrated 8 years in August. So we've started.
And did you move in with your daughter or?
Yes, we have been with my daughter, but since she has been schooling from Kitale, she knows my husband as dad. From the first day when I met him and she accepted to take me with her, she has been a father.
Wow.
Even when he has been a father to her. Even when he was not around, he could call, he chipped in, he was a real father to my child.
Wow.
I had never seen that.
Wow.
So every time my daughter has closed school, immediately he sends the fare and the child comes.
Wow.
Any time they are not in school, she's with us.
We celebrate him. And God has blessed your union with 2 more kids.
Yes, we have 2 more daughters.
Yes.
So my second born is 5 years old.
Yeah.
And my third born is almost 2 years.
What a blessing.
Amen.
So look into that camera and talk to a girl that maybe is going through what you have gone through, or a parent, because it's not just about the girl that is going through that. It's even the parents and the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for the girls who are going through such a thing, maybe you are pregnant, or maybe you've delivered a child and your boyfriend has let you down, failed you, no one understands you, you are going through a situation you don't know who to talk to or what to do, hang in there. Just trust in God. The God who helped me will help you too.
Amen.
It was not easy for me, but God was there for me. 8 years down, he gave me a beautiful family, a family I can say I enjoy.
Oh, amen.
So God is with you. And for the parents, if you happen to have a child who has gotten pregnant, please understand them and forgive them and give them another chance, because sometimes what we need is just another chance to prove that maybe it didn't happen out of, you didn't want it to happen. It was just a mistake. So parents, please give your children another chance and forgive them.
Wow.
Yes.
What a lesson. What a moving story. And I would actually probably ask any parent that if, in case that happens, I think what is most important is not our judgment and our expectations of the child. I think the first thing is salvaging the situation by embracing the child first, and not, like highlighting their mistake, because it's already done. The best way to restore them is embrace them, deal with the shame together, because after all, that's why we are called parents. And I know as parents, there's that disappointment, the shame, the stigma, the responsibility that comes with it. But I think when there's positivity, the journey becomes easier. And I want to just appreciate my guest for sharing this story with us, because it's something that happens in many families, and especially the more you're influential or have a right standing in society, the harder it becomes. Yes. But you are a living testimony that God can restore. So from us, the CTN production team, we want to appreciate you and tell you, Shalom, God bless you, and I will encourage you to have my book, which is Break Free, Our Family Deliverance. It's Breaking Evil Patterns and Guide into Spiritual Warfare. You can get a copy. It's there available on the number on your screen, and you can call and you can get a copy. And thank you so much, Grace, for coming. We appreciate you. From us and the CTN family, Shalom. God bless you.